Folks, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show. Friday evening here in Oro Valley. Joined by an absolutely legendary human being and a pretty good musician as well. Who'll be performing tonight at a house concert. Don Latarski, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Jake Feinberg, I am happy to be here. This is amazing.
You know, I don't know how many younger cats you run into these days. I know you used to teach a lot back when. I was interviewing this drummer from Shaka Khan the other day, and he said so many cats, and this has been true for a long time, that they are consumed with how to play the game, but they're not consumed with creating their own good content. You know, in order to play the game, right? They're willing to jump into the game with no content. Part of it is just a rat race, and I just wonder what you would say to younger cats about the viability of playing in the music racket, but having good content, and how to have patience to develop that content.
Well, I think if you're in the music game, you have to decide whether you're going to be maybe an innovator or a leader, or you're going to be a sideman kind of a situation. In that case, of course, you have to be able to do a lot of different things. But if you can develop your own sound, I mean, you have to come up with something, right? You can't be a leader without a sound. So you've got to have something that, first of all, you're totally passionate and excited by, and hopefully, you know, other people will be as well. I don't know if you can guess that, you know what I mean? If you could go like, oh, I think, you know, I'm going to try to sound like so-and-so because they're successful and I can play music that's similar to that. I mean, a lot of people do that.
Well, but here's the thing. You know, I don't think your generation was not like into comping. Like, it was about finding your individual sound, but now it's really hard to do that because there's no guarantee. You want to sound like somebody who's successful so you can sing for your supper. But in reality, it's almost fraudulent art in some ways, you know? I just wonder, like, do you feel like, have you given your time to all the younger cats, or do you still try to come in contact with younger people? Musicians specifically.
Yeah, I really don't come into contact with a lot of younger musicians. I mean, there are some that I do come into contact with. I just produced a record for a young woman.
Yes.
Who's a very good artist, I think, very good lyricist and songwriter, and a very good singer. And that was a real cool.
How did you connect? A lot of these things are just synergistic.
Here's how we connected. Yeah. She started making her record in Eugene, and the guy that she started doing this record with, I guess there was some kind of a drug scene thing going on, which she was really unhappy about. And also what she was also really unhappy about was her project was getting sort of taken over, right? It was like no longer her project.
Train wreck.
Yeah, but some guy was all of a sudden he was going to produce her in a way that she really did not want to go in that direction. So she had some mutual friends, or some couple of really wonderful young musicians that I've known for quite a while, and I've been playing gigs with them. And it's fun stuff.
Name these cats. Who are these cats?
Dana and Alden McWayne. And
hey, man.
So anyway, should we keep going or what?
I would love to keep.
Yeah.
I mean, unless are we okay?
Yeah.
This is for a show that Jake does. Yeah. Anyway, you're going to edit it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Dana and Alden McWayne are two young guys. The irony of this story is, and I think it's pretty cool, when they grew up a couple houses down from me, and sort of grew up listening to my music because their parents were big fans. Well, the family kind of split up, so the boys went to live with the mom, who was just on the other side of town. It's not like they moved away.
Right.
But anyway, so they approached me with doing their first record, which we did a couple of years ago. And they let me produce it, and they wanted me to play on it, and so we had a great rapport doing this record.
What was the instrumentation of the band?
It's keyboard, bass, drums. Alden plays drums.
Yeah.
Dana plays keyboard and saxophone. And I think that's primarily it. And it's all original music.
You know, what is most satisfying to you in the musical process these days? I mean, you're playing. We're at this incredibly beautiful establishment. The owner was just here. You're playing these really intimate house concerts. You also are part of a record label you're performing at. the live element of music, how important is that to Don Latarski in your life still?
Well, it is extremely important for sure, because it's during the live shows that you can actually connect with people. And in fact, I was just writing a friend of mine about this morning, about the sort of I feel like somewhat of a sacred nature involved in performing. I don't do a tremendous amount of it, but what happens, of course, and musicians who are watching this will know exactly what I'm talking about, is music enables people to express emotions that they've gotten divorced from over the course of their lives. It allows them to feel a connection to humanity. It allows them to feel a connection, to reestablish the connection to, just what it means to be human, and to get in touch with themselves again.
It's one of the most powerful things I've heard in a long time.
As people get older, they get more and more divorced from their emotions, and they get hung up on whatever it is that they're hung up on, whether it be material possessions, or whether it be, golf game, or
Sure.
whatever in the heck it is, or pursuing,
Addictions or whatever it might be.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think. Can you talk about what is the call for you, the source point, when you know it's time to perform in a sacred setting? You pick and choose where you play.
That's right.
It's a sacred thing.
I'm not playing in clubs anymore.
Right. You're not playing top 40 or.
Well, no, but I don't want to play in situations where it's background music. I'm not interested in that.
So sacred means.
I've done quite a lot of it, and that was a certain period of my life, but now I don't really want to have anything to do with that. I'm happy to play less gigs.
I dig. No, so can you talk about your relationship with the beautiful owners of this house that are hosting this event tonight?
Right. Well, I met William Hollander in Eugene some years ago. He contacted me and said, I'd like to get some guitar lessons from you. And I said, fine, great.
He was a doctor up there.
Here he is, right here.
Dude, come on in, man. Come on. Why don't you join the party here? We're just talking about you.
How are your hands?
They're Raynaud's syndrome. So,
William,
if I'm underneath that lamp thing there, they started to warm up quickly.
So what we're going to do, as soon as you start playing, we're going to shut the doors. And
Okay.
It'll get real warm.
Okay, great.
William,
Great.
I want to ask you one question.
Sure.
Can you talk about what you learned? I know you're an avid music fan and you play.
Yes.
What was the best thing about Don as a teacher?
Don is incredibly patient. Don is an incredibly creative person. And
The best.
Oh, yes. And he knows how to break down complex problems into simpler problems.
And make them articulate it that way.
Yes.
I was going to say, because I just interviewed this great guitar player, Bill Washer, and he had Mick Goodrick. I don't know if you know that name. Great guitar player, just passed recently.
Yeah.
And Mick basically was at Berkeley, and during the lessons, he'd say to Bill, okay, this is what you're going to need to learn for the end of the semester, what we're expecting. And then they'd start talking about Gurdjieff or the fourth way, Ouspensky. But was it philosophical, or were you really searching for rudiments from Latarski?
I needed rudiments
Yes.
when I was working with Latarski.
I love
For
it. dude.
sure. I think I took lessons from you about 15 years ago.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Oh, I didn't think it was that long
And
ago.
so I came back to Eugene. I have a good friend by the name of Dave Seamus who's trying to learn guitar. And I said, well, if you want to learn guitar, you got to go see Latarski.
So he is studying with me now.
Wow.
And so I came to the first lesson, and I found out that Don was hanging out down here in Tucson. And I said, we need to hang out down here.
Absolutely.
And
Dude, I'm
use it.
so honored to be here tonight, man.
And you need to give a little recital. And so for me, I retired in 2019, and in my next life, I want to be a musician. And so I'm playing piano and guitar, and I don't have a lot of talent. I have a lot of enthusiasm.
Well, that's
So-
great. I want to ask you, are you playing with some cats down here at all?
Well,
I mean, even informally, it doesn't have to be a gig.
I have a piano teacher.
A teacher.
Yes.
At some point, but tonight, Don has assured me he's going to throw the set list away. We're going to burn to the heavens. We're going to be leaning into all the angst and energy and the vibration. And I just want to say William, it's an honor to meet you for the first time, and it's an honor to be here with Brother Latarski, man, one of the baddest cats in all the land, man.
Yes.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
All right, this is the Jake Feinberg Show. We're going to go have some dinner now.
Yeah.
Take care.